Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Amen. Please be seated. By a show of hands, has anyone here ever felt like they had dwelled in the valley of the shadow of death? Anyone? Yeah. Keep those hands up or put them up again if you kind of are feeling more and more that way every day lately. It's a scary time for a lot of us. In ways we haven't before, I contemplate the very real danger my life might be in, the very real danger the life of people I love might be in. And I contemplate the shaking of the foundation of my belief in systems of justice. And I feel myself in the valley, overshadowed by death. Today, our readings start with the great King David, military genius, powerful, strong, brave, beautiful, wonderful, perfect, but not really, right? Where we start is with the youngest of 7 brothers, a gentle, perhaps kind, maybe a little weird because he spends all his time with the sheep, young man. And Samuel is sent to find him to make him king. But he doesn't know who he's going to find. And so he comes and he sees Eliab, and Eliab is big and strong, and he's the oldest. And maybe he sees the other sons who we don't get all, their names in this story. And he says, oh, this one's really smart. This one's really good at chess. This one is very, clever and funny and charming and interesting. And he says, oh, none of these are the king? And God says, no, you're looking with your eyes. Look with my eyes. And he's frustrated, and he says, hey, here I am, super important guy, come to town. Is there a son missing? Oh, yeah. We knew you're important, and you came to town, and you wanted to see us to make this sacrifice, and you invited us. But we thought it was more important that David be out with the sheep. We need the sheep to live, and David's the one who takes care of the sheep. So we didn't invite him to the dinner. He had other things to do. We didn't think you'd want to see him anyways. He's the youngest. And that's who God saw. God saw a man whose every day was walking in the valley of the shadow of death, as he put himself in between predators and thieves to protect the food source of his people. A job perceived as really kind of a throwaway, because anybody can just keep an eye out for wolves, when the reality is so much more intense. And God saw him, and God said, this will be the king. I had a friend, he's still my friend, he died, who was born with a severe neurodegenerative genetic anomaly. So profound that, and I didn't find this out until after he had passed, he had had an older brother who died in infancy. This friend lived in the valley of the shadow of death. Every day, he could not be left alone. He didn't get privacy. He didn't give freedom to do things when and where and how he wanted to do them, because he needed help. Because one wrong move could end his life. And this man, who was not supposed to live beyond 25, because no one with None of the 12 people who have been identified to have this illness had ever lived past 25. Lived until he was 43. Lived, if not consciously, unconsciously, with the memory of the brother who had died. He lived in the shadow of death. When I first came to L'Arche, he was the one who welcomed me. If I told you that the most welcoming, the most friendly, the most community-oriented person was a man who could not walk on his own, who could not speak, who could say 2 words, mom and no, and could sign a handful of words, but a lot of sign language was not available to him. His ability to communicate was limited, and yet he was the most loving and welcoming and open and generous person I have ever met. His favorite thing in the whole world was to introduce people. It did not matter if it was a stranger on the street or your own mother. He would grab your hand, and he would grab their hand, and he would do this until you shook hands. And then he would rock, and he would smile, and he would laugh. Signs that he was deeply pleased. You have not lived life until you have met your own mother in this way. It is a beautiful and profound experience. A blessing to know him. And one day someone asked me, and I don't hold this against this person, they were genuinely curious. They were trying to understand. He needs someone to be with him at all times. He cannot work, he cannot earn. He does not make anything. Is he worth all these resources that we invest? Resources that maybe could keep hundreds of thousands of people alive. And for me, the answer was unequivocally yes, of course. All day, every day. Heck, I'll take all y'all's food and give it to him if I got another moment with him. And I love you guys. I do. No disrespect meant by that. But when he's not here and when I don't get to know him anymore the way I once knew him, a part of me is lesser for it. So then we come once more into the valley of the shadow of death, to a man who is born blind. He cannot work to support himself. He cannot produce, he cannot serve, he cannot be a carpenter or a smith or a baker. He probably does still live with his family, but he begs on the street so that he can help his family pay for his food. And his entire culture, all of those around him, believe that this limitation, this loss of what our creatures, the people that we are, the creatures that we are, believe to be the most important of our senses. So much so that we equate knowledge and understanding to sight. He can't see because his parents were sinners, because he is a sinner. So no doubt he was not treated very kindly. It's his own fault. So yeah, I'll throw a coin to him because God said be, generous. But why did he choose that? But he can see what they cannot. Immediately he can see what they cannot. This is God. And in turn, God says, though it be the Sabbath, I will heal you. I will give you your sight. And people do not like that. Sinners are supposed to be punished. And blind people are sinners. So why are you doing nice things for them? And on the Sabbath, no less, you're breaking the rules. Secretly, some of them are kind of grateful because now they have an excuse for why they're so mad at him, why he challenges their perspective, why him healing the blind man isn't bad because healing is bad. Taking care of those in need, those whose limitations are different than our own, isn't bad. No. He's bad because he did it on the Sabbath. Now I don't have to feel bad about how mean I was to the blind man, or how I didn't show up for him, how I didn't take care of him. I didn't treat him like a person. And once more, we are in the valley of the shadow of death, and God says to us, when you find yourself here, those of you who do not live here every day, what will save you is to know and understand and appreciate and perceive those who live in the valley of the shadow of death, those who know every day to be precious, those who see that the system has never been fair for some of us, those who see that we have never been truly safe and have loved anyways, have showed up every day in faith. Those who cannot speak, who welcome, those who protect sheep, protect kingdoms. How many things in our lives do we think are weaknesses or failures? And how wrong are we when we think that? I sat with my spiritual director one day and I was bemoaning how hard it is to have ADD and how hard it is to have depression and why did I have to go through all these things and lose all the relationships I lost because of them. And she stopped me and she said, what is the gift that God is giving you in these things? What is the gift that comes from what you perceive to be weakness? And she was right. I wouldn't be here today with you if I had not gone through those things. I would not be able to see someone else feeling the same and say, hey, you're not alone. You are beloved. If I had not myself felt alone and abandoned and unloved, I would not see how sometimes things that seem perfectly simple are very complicated for some people's brains, if that were not true for me. Andrew maybe would not have understood how important it was to have connection if it wasn't so much work for him. We will go through the valley of the shadow of death. We are always living in the shadow of death. And the blessing, the gift, is that we are not alone, and if we reach out to those who have been there the whole time, they will help us. They will show us that our weaknesses and our failures are, in fact, gifts. It's good. It's good. You can laugh. It's not all scary and terrible. We have what we need. And when we are silly or unexpected or strange or imperfect, Maybe instead of being wrong, being sinners, we are faced with an opportunity to see what we had not seen before, to see from a different perspective, to be the beloved people that God knows us to be. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with me, so I am not afraid. It is as true about each and every one of you and each and every person in our lives as it is about God. The hope is that we are not alone, no matter how alone we may feel. There are others here in the valley with us, and if we can find them, we will find our way to the resurrection. Amen.